In this masterclass, I'm going to show you how to build very strong and viable foundational breakout models for actually any market and time frame in the world. So I hope you're truly excited and let's get to it. Hi, my name is Thomas, also known as the Mr. Breakout. I'm a breakout trading specialist and an internationally recognized trading author. I've traveled the world trading breakout strategies, and on this channel I will teach you my own way of finding the right trading opportunities and making real money with breakout trading. Welcome back, breakout masters and breakout trading fans. So we're going to build foundational breakout model today together. I'm going to show you the process A to Z. So this is going to be a true, completely free masterclass. There's not any trick, there's not any sign up. I'm going to show you A to Z how to build what I call foundational breakout models. Foundational breakout models are models which are just their very core essence, their very core structure, and which you can take and start improving, which we can do in some other videos in the future. But the key, as with anything, is always to build really powerful and really strong foundation. If you have a good, robust foundational model, that's half of the work done already. So let's get started. I'll be working in the BreakoutOS, and what we're going to do, actually, let me get back to homepage. And we're going to use one of the modules from the build part, a module which is specifically designed for this foundational modeling. It's called Build Robust and Viable Foundational Breakout Models. And before we start, I just need to give you a little bit of an explanation. It's really you understand the foundation of breakout modeling. It's not complicated, it's actually very easy, and I had a lot of video here previously, or I recorded a lot of videos previously on this topic, so you can anytime go back to this channel and watch any videos. I basically provide examples and walkthroughs of breakout modeling every week. But just a quick reminder, really everything related to breakout trading, it's about this simple formula where we need some point of initiation, space, and time. This is the foundation. This is what we call foundational modeling. So basically, point of initiation is a point from which we calculate where the breakout level should occur. So that means if market penetrates a specific breakout level, we are in long or short position. But to calculate that level of penetration, we need some starting point, and we call this point of initiation. And then once we have the point of initiation, we add space. So space is usually multiplication of volatility, 1 or 2 or 3 times of volatility, and that's where we calculate where the breakout itself should occur. It's really very, very simple. And then very important, we want to limit our models within a specific time. And I'll explain why in this video, but it's very important we work actively with the time element, because different time elements just can improve the models tremendously. And then of course, once we have the foundational model, we can add filters. I've already recorded a lot of videos about filters on this channel, so definitely don't forget to subscribe or go back and watch them, because I'll be recording more. But today we need to nail down the foundational model. That's what this masterclass is about. So I'm going to work with NASDAQ, okay? NASDAQ is a very popular market, E-mini NASDAQ. People love E-mini NASDAQ. So many traders were trading E-mini NASDAQ in 2025. And definitely they will continue in 2026. And I will work with 60 minutes data. So first of all, to start building foundational models, we need data. And It's pretty much up to you where you get your data. If you want to build models, good models, you should use at least 10 years of data. 10 years gives you a lot of sample size. It gives you a lot of different history. It gives you a lot of different market qualities, market dynamics, different volatilities. So with 10 years of data, we're really covered. We pretty much can say, seen it all included in the sample size. Now, I use for my trading TradeStation, and TradeStation allows you to export any data you want, but there are other platforms which allow you to export your data as ASCII or CSV. You have to do your research or ask ChatGPT or other AI. I use TradeStation, very easy to do with TradeStation. So what I basically did, I exported all the indexes. I exported 60 minutes data of E-mini Dow Jones, E-mini Nasdaq, E-mini Nikkei, which is quite interesting because later on in this masterclass, we will cross-validate our model on different indexes, including Nikkei, which is a completely different country. It's a Japanese index. And if we can cross-validate our foundational model on Nikkei, that means we have really powerful, strong, and robust solution. So that's Nikkei. I have E-mini S&P, E-mini S&P 400, which is EMD, and E-mini Russell 2000. So all the usual markets, E-mini indexes, very popular, very good for trading, fantastic for breakout trading. All of them are covered. But again, the formula is universal. You can trade any market in the world with it. In fact, a lot of traders already do. Now, as I said, I exported the data from TradeStation, and I basically exported everything which I'm showing you here in this table. Took literally 10 seconds. 10 seconds, I exported hourly data, hour by hour, about last 9 or 10 years of the data history. TradeStation exports open, high, low, close, volume up, volume down, and I also added some indicators. I added close of yesterday, open of today, moving average 100, high of the day. Now, how high of the day without look ahead bias? High of the day, which is properly updated and captured every hour when the bar is closed. This is something really important because, you know, like sometimes I work on this channel with high of day or low of day, and some people are, this is look ahead bias. And this is so annoying. These people do not know what they're talking about. They don't understand how TradeStation works. They're doing some stupid stuff in Python or what, but they need to play smart, right? You're look ahead bias. There's no look ahead bias. Calm down. Learn how TradeStation works. It takes the most known low or high of the day, of the closed bar, and properly tracks it. That's why I use professional platforms like TradeStation. It's all built in. I don't have to install billion of libraries, be super coder. I don't code at all. I'm going to show you a completely code-free solution. You don't need to be a coder to create great strategies. If you want coding exercises, do whatever you want in Python and all these complexities. If you want to learn trading, keep it simple and use professional trading platforms, not all these libraries and patches and I don't know what. Okay, and then we have volatility. So I already explained, so all these will be point of initiations, okay? Yesterday's close, today's open, these are syntaxes in TradeStation, moving average 100, high of the day, low of the day, exponential moving average, period 50. Again, I can export any indicator I want from TradeStation, so I can have 50, 60, 70 here. And then for the space calculation, I need average true range. And I usually use average true range 5, 20, and 40. I already made a couple of videos on this channel about this. You don't need more than this because the models are not hypersensitive to these parameters, okay? If you test 5, 20, 40 as input of ATR, average true range, that's enough. It's not, there's very little sensitivity, okay? And then also the file includes big point value, which is basically one big point value in Nasdaq, so we have all the outputs properly calibrated in the currency, not in the market points. Again, this is super simple. There's a whole explanation and manual here in the Breakout OS. The point is this all, which I explained in 5 minutes, took literally 10 seconds to export from TradeStation, should be similarly easy from any other platform which already contains data and from which you can export underlying data with some indicators. 10-second work. Super, super simple. So now Breakout OS just categorizes this data and says, hey, you have 6 point of initiation, which is close of the day yesterday, open of today, moving average 100, high of the day, low of the day, and exponential moving average. And then we have 3 different periods of average to range, 5, 20, and 40. So we have everything we need to build foundational model. And again, I'm just modeling here. I'm making it simple, but I can have 50 here and 10 here. It doesn't matter. I want to keep it simple for the beginning in this masterclass so you understand what we're doing. And this is 1 hour data, Nasdaq, and we have about 9 years. It's actually over 9 years. This is rounded, so almost 10 years. Okay, so we have the data on which we want to try to build a foundational model. Now we need to make a couple of decisions, and all of these decisions are quite important. So one decision is, are we going to build foundational model long or short? And on indexes, you can whatever you want. You can go long, you can go short. Usually, good model should be one side only, because behavior of markets, especially skewed markets like indexes, it's very different on the long versus short side. So we always build on one side only. And now let's do long. It's easier, right? Like you want low hanging fruit, you want fast good results. So we start with the long side only. And now we need to decide whether we want a model which is day trading model or swing trading model. So that's why we have this setting EOD, which stands for end of the day, or EOW, which stands for end of the week. Now, day trading strategies, by definition, they day trade and they exit at the end of the day, the latest. Swing strategies can be held over the weekend. However, it's very, very impractical. Why? Because you also need to do regular maintenance, right? Like you might need to do reoptimization, reassembly of your portfolio. So that's one practical reason why it's very good to have no position over the weekend. So you could do any maintenance which is required. And believe me, there's always a lot of maintenance related to trading. Second practical reason is that there can be big movements over the weekend and over the weekend gaps. So you do not have full control of your risk over the weekend. That's why it's better to exit all the positions at the end of the weekend, even if you are the swing trader. That's what I do. That's what I suggest with these foundational models. So we will work on EOD. Now, of course, I will cover some swing model in the future as well, so you can subscribe not to miss it out. And that's the first decision we have to make. Now, let's keep our initial foundational model simple and let's do just one entry of the day. And let's now play with the time. And the time element is really important. I already explained the breakout model, the Mr. Breakout's formula works with point of initiation and the space, which we defined here already, but it also needs some time constraint. And usually markets, especially indexes, they can trade in pre-market, which is somewhere between midnight and 8 or 9 a.m. Then regular trading hours, and again, we do not need to be super precise here, but just roughly between 9 a.m. Chicago time and 3 or 4 p.m. Chicago time. And then in the aftermarket, which usually we can say it's between 3 p.m. and the midnight. Each session, and you can also use your own custom session. The point is each session behaves completely differently and you will get different outcomes. So you can, for example, build a specific strategy for pre-market, main market, aftermarket, combine them and try to profit on everything, the whole movement of the day. However, with foundational model, it's wise to start with just one fraction of the day. So let's do the aftermarket since we have it here already. So we say, okay, we will be looking for strategies in the pre-market. And now, since this is a day trading strategy, we need to define when is the exit. And since we're working with the not pre-market, but aftermarket, since we're working with the aftermarket, we want to exit by midnight. So we set exit, end of day exit time here. We set it at the midnight. Now, what's important, we do not want to enter and exit on the same bar ideally. So the entry we limit it by 11 p.m. So we are not actually entering and exiting on midnight. Okay, it doesn't make sense. Why would we do that? So it's better just to remove 1 or 2 hours from the end, so we still have some space to breathe once we are in the market. So we pretty much defined the very foundation, and there are more variations, more settings, but we keep it simple for the beginning. This is the very foundation of the foundational breakout model building. And now what we know is that we have 6 points of initiations and 3 different volatility measurements. So that alone creates 18 different combination of switches. Okay, we call this switches. This is point of initiation switch. This is volatility switch. So we have 18 different combinations, but each volatility by the definition, the formula itself is point of initiation plus ATR multiplied by a multiplier, by some constant variable. So we can have point of initiation plus ATR multiplied by 1, ATR multiplied by 2, ATR multiplied by 3. And usually the foundational models, the best is to test from 0, and you never use 0. This is just having some baseline without it, up to 5, step 0, 2. Okay, so we would test every out of these 18 combinations, we test with space multiplier 0, 2, 0, 4, 0, 6, up to 5, which altogether creates, which is actually 26 combinations, and altogether we have 468 iterations. So now we have 468 possibilities to create a good foundational model. The key thing here, it needs to be robust, okay? We cannot just cherry pick, overfit, overoptimize, and then lose our money. We have to have a robust solution. So that I'm going to show you in the next step, but this is the step number 1, and in this step we prototype. So we want to actually see, prototype, and rank these 468 solutions. So we now click on the test all combinations, and in a few seconds, probably about 10 seconds, we have almost 500 combinations. We see them here ranked. We can scroll down. Only the positive one are shown, so we remove the negative ones. But now what's the most important thing, as you can see, we can sort them out, rank them on 2 types or 3 types of the data before the 3 years, before the last 3 years. So that means we have 9 years of data, year 1 to 6, the last 3 years, and all data. By default, we always return before 3 years only. Why? This is so-called in-sample data. So in-sample data are the data where we train the model on, and then we have to validate it on unseen data, so-called out-of-sample data, so we know we're creating a robust solution. Meaning we have to know that the model would work on unseen data to call it potentially robust model. Now there are different versions of splitting in-sample and out-of-sample. Some people do 80%, 20%, 90%, 10%. Why do I do before last 2 years and last 3 years? This is based on experience, long-time experience and long-time observations, that the three in futures markets, overall in futures markets, the last 3 years matter the most. The last 3 years, if you have a good behavior during the last 3 years, you usually have more promising behavior in the unseen future. Also, the average trade of the last 3 years or the parameters are more relevant to upcoming future. So last 3 years really matter. But at the same time, we do not want to create these models and optimize only the last 3 years, because then we would overfit. We simply overfit on the last 3 years, put it live, it breaks apart, we lose money. Oh, what did I do wrong? Everything. You did wrong everything. You need to train on unseen data, validate on seen data, validate on unseen data. Plus, if we use 9 or 10 years history, we have a much higher sample size, which is related to degree of freedom. So we have higher statistical probability that our solution is correct. And then, once this is, then the other thing is that we also, as I explained at the beginning, we want to cover different market modalities before these 3 years. We really want to include, for example, COVID, right? Like we passed COVID time, so last 3 years doesn't already include this data. So we need a long history with many different things. Like here in sample, we would have COVID data, and out of sample, we would have tariffs. So it's fantastic. Let's see how model which we trained in the era containing the COVID and billion of other events which we forgot already, how that would validate on last 2 years where we, for example, had tariffs, right? So that's the number one requirement. If you do not want to overfit, if you want to create good strategies, we will go through many more robustness tests. We're not done yet, but that's the first requirement. We're building robust solutions here, okay? Not overfit, robust solutions. Now we have the solution. Okay, so now the Breakout OS basically returns by rank number two, ranked by so-called fitness function or sorting metrics. And I love using net profit or net profit drawdown ratio, and quite often these overlap. So let's stay with the net profit. And we have a pretty good model here in sample data. It's a simple model where we take low of the day, we add one, we take ATR, average true range of last 20 bars, and multiply it by 1. That's how we get the level where the stop order will be placed. In breakouts, we work with stop orders. If you do not know what stop order is, Google it or ask ChatGPT. And that's where we place the stop order in advance. And this is a pretty promising model because on average, every year, it would produce about $10,000 US, about $852 monthly. Now, do not worry about any metrics of any other metrics right now. There are plenty of metrics. We're just starting out. Do not worry about drawdown, nothing right now. We just need to know we're on the right track. That's all. We do not need anything else at this stage. So in sample is pretty good. Now the solution is 0, 1. Now we already took the step in the right direction where we said, okay, not only that we're using only in sample data, so we can validate later on out of sample data, but we can also now do another check, and the check is that we see if similar model, especially the point of initiation, if it's also part of the next best solution, and we can see the second best solution is low of the day again, so that's very promising. Third one is a low of the day, so the top 3 solutions actually use the same point of initiation. That's another clue. That's another like, hey, we're working with something meaningful here because top 3 solutions use the same point of initiation. So obviously we cannot be completely off. Now the other thing is that with this model, we can see how many space iterations. So each one represents here, the vertical bar represents one space multiplication. This is 1, this is the best one, this is 0.4, sorry, 1.4 the second best, 0.8 the third best. So here we can see how many basically do produce positive results and how many negative. And here it's about half and half, which is not bad. This model, which is the same model but using ATR 40 instead of ATR 20, is probably even better because two-thirds of space multipliers are producing actually positive results. We have many more positive equity curves compared to this one. Okay, so just 1/3 is minus, and actually most of that is just small minus. So overall, you could pick the best model, but the second best maybe is even a little bit better because it again suggests more of a robustness. Not only the equity is smoother, but mostly many more solutions, many more different, like multiplications do produce positive results, positive equity curve. But let's go a little bit the hard part, right? We will do more verifications, more robustness tests. Let's stay with this little bit harder one, and let's say this is still viable. Like if this is half and half, that's still okay. It's not bad, right? Like, I mean, even the worst scenario is half the loss of what the best scenario makes. This is still viable. So we still could consider this first model be potentially viable, but we need to make more checks. So now what the checks would be, okay? So first of all, this is the best one is 1.0. So let me go back here and set 1.0 here. So this is our foundational model in sample. So what would be the next step? And robustness is very, very important, and we need to cover it more. And I've been already talking for about 20 minutes probably here. So it's already a lot of information to digest. But next step, we need to check on unseen data last 2 years, but also create or perform neighbor values test as robustness test and do few more walk forward robustness test. Now, I do not want to overwhelm you at once. So what we're going to do right now, please, I want you to get back to the recording, to this video, play it again, and make sure you understand the foundation. You understand everything I've just shared with you, everything that I explained. That's the very essence. And then we will continue next week. Let's do this masterclass 2 or 3 parts. Next week, we will go deeper into this robustness testing. There's a lot to understand, so I want to do it precisely. I do not want to rush. So please don't forget to subscribe. Next week, same day, same time, I'm dropping another lesson where we will continue with the robustness test, and either the next one or the one after, we will complete this masterclass. So that's all, okay, for now. I hope to see you in the next one. Again, I've been using the BreakoutOS here. That's what I'll keep using in the next one as well. Give me a like if you like videos like this, and if you want me to continue, please give me a like and subscription. I will continue anyway, but still will be nice to have your like and subscription, and I'll see you in the next one.
All you need are